and welcome to Frankly Speaking. And joining me tonight is the man of the moment, the man who scripted history, the man who's put India not just on the world map, but on the map of the moon. Dr. Somnath, ISRO Chief, joining me on Frankly Speaking. Many, many congratulations to you, Dr. Somnath, from the entire country, from a billion hearts that are beating today, because you've managed to put the Tiranga on the moon, something that this country has been waiting to see for such a long time.
Thank you so much for your compliments, and I join all my countrymen. We are equally proud of being part of this great accomplishment, and thank you so much for your prayers and blessings.
Dr. Somnath, 4 years ago, Chandrayaan-2 made an attempt, came a whisker close to achieving the results. Did the little slip between the cup and the lip in 2019 really weigh on your mind when you were looking at the countdown today to Chandrayaan reaching the moon?
No, that part of the history of not accomplishing soft landing is long back over, and it's totally moved out of your mind. The whole worry immediately after that last time in 2019 was to understand why it went wrong, and that took to a very arduous path of simulating, testing to understand the real cause of the problem. Because as you know, the event happened on the moon and we couldn't collect back the debris, and we can't find out how it went wrong, and it can be reconstructed using various techniques of whatever data that we could gather, and we recreated it and found out the real reason behind the failure of soft landing, and it became evident that we need to make some modifications in this Chandrayaan-3, and that process went for next 1 year. What should be the modification, how we should accomplish it. And the remaining 2 years, we realized them and tested them through hundreds of such simulation tests. So it was a difficult journey and well understood through that process. And our understanding of the whole design of the lander and its method to achieve soft landing improved quite a lot after the failure. As you all know that failure is a great teacher, and it taught us many new things which we incorporated in Chandrayaan-3. So we were very confident this time we should be making it.
The last 19 minutes just making the soft landing possible on the moon, and it's often described as those 20 minutes of terror, many people call it. So what was going through your mind at that time? Because you look like you're cool as a cucumber, nothing ruffles you. But clearly your mind must be working on certain options. If this happens, what will I do? If that happens, what was going on in your mind?
As you know very well that this was a high-ticket mission because we had to achieve success this time. I know the nation won't pardon us if you make again a problem. After the last failure, we should have really achieved a success. That of course, that expectation was so much weighing on our shoulders. Beyond that, that event of 19 minutes, 20 minutes, what we were watching, it was of no consequence to our actions there, because it is all programmed on how to achieve it. And whatever we thought that can go wrong should have gone wrong much ahead of it, and we should have known about it. So by the time the whole landing process started, everything was healthy. Entire failures that we assumed that could have happened were not happening. So in fact, it was a very smooth ride, as you would have seen in the curve, one over the other. It was perfectly following the track. Even it achieved the landing at exactly almost the same time as we originally intended it to land softly on the location. And we found that the nominal mission was accomplished in this particular landing, and no off-nominalities or even failures or contingencies were exercised. The only thing we were watching at certain time or distances from the surface of the moon, certain events were supposed to be triggered in case anything goes wrong. And we were carefully watching to see whether such events are getting triggered or not. And nothing was happening. I think once we saw it didn't happen at 8 kilometers, it didn't happen at 800 meters, it didn't happen at 150 meters, we were very happy. So we were only looking for those things to happen or not to happen. Other than that, we were not worried otherwise.
Dr. Somnath, you said there was a pressure of expectations from 140 crore people. I also want to ask you, was there pressure of performance? Political pressure. You're also reporting to a system. There is, strides that a country can make. There are budgets that are involved. Were any of those pressures also working on your mind?
Absolutely not. I think we should say with all love and affection for what Honorable Prime Minister gives us. He never told that we must accomplish success this time. We know that he is aware of what are the risks involved in this mission, and I believe that he could have expected both the results, a successful landing as well as a failure. Both were possibilities, and I understand from the interactions that he was prepared for either of them. So that means that there is no pressure from them, from the political leadership, because this is a high risk mission. And success comes out of hard work and dedication, and you are sure that we are doing it. So always think for the best and then work for the best.
How many interactions did you have with the Prime Minister ahead of this particular landing, ahead of this launch?
See, it happens in various ways. I may not be in a position to describe all those interactions to you.
But were there conversations that you had with him over the last 2 or 3 days, 72 hours, 48 hours left for the landing? Any conversations, any messages that were exchanged?
We continue to exchange, inform Honorable Prime Minister what is happening. It's a part of our task. And being our minister, he need to be continuously kept informed. That we do.
And did he play any role in motivating or keeping you and your team motivated, especially as in the back of your mind, it's only human to have the last instance of 2019 in your mind. Did the Prime Minister give you any special message regarding Chandrayaan-2 and what transpired when it tried to land?
I think that he himself is an inspiration for all of us in various ways. We deal with the Science Ministry. I meet him regularly for various activities, so we discuss this topic. He knows that we have handled by a professional team of ISRO. There is nothing need to be done, but as a minister in charge of it, he gave us all the support that is needed to go ahead with this mission. That's why we could achieve in this year, even after the delay of large 4 years, this mission was through.
You're a scientist and you go by data, by reasons, by facts and figures. But just as a human being, scientists are also human beings. Was there any emotion in your mind when it successfully landed? And just before it was going to land, were there any prayers that were going up in your mind? How are the thoughts really in a scientist's mind when you're going through this very, very crucial phase?
See, it is improper for me to say that I'm not thrilled or joyful after this. It's natural for, as you said, being a human being. But I am a professional. I'm not just a person who is just seeing it for the first time. And my life experience of going through rocket launches, it must be in maybe 50 or 60 of launches. I would have sat in the control center, watched them launch. Some of them fail and most of them succeed. And even Chandrayaan-2 landing time, I was here and seen the touchdown, not missing it. So it's many years of experience and exposure makes me balanced to handle such emotions. It's a part of our professional job. Otherwise, to see that as an accomplishment, definitely I'm very happy about it. It will be very, very moderate to say I'm not thrilled. I'm really thrilled to see the success of this mission along with my teammates.
Dr. Somnath, there was a bit of a controversy where people raised questions when prayers were offered. People said, how can scientists who go on facts and figures, data, and logic how do they get into prayers and a divine force? What would you want to say to them?
So you just asked me a question. Scientists are human beings. No, you only said that they are also human beings. They must have emotions. So you cannot immediately detach the human being part from out of us. First and foremost, I must say that we are also part of a society. We are part of a culture. We are sort of part of an upbringing. All these are inherent within us, and we are scientists at the same time. And being scientists is a profession. It's not the personal life. So the first thing we have to understand that we know how to make distinction between what is a professional life and what is a personal life. So all those things which you mentioned are part of that part of the life where there are. I am a lover of art, culture. I see people. I enjoy music, and I read spirituality. I venture into it. I get into exploration of that part of it, of literature, our great upbringing. And we are also trained in certain process in life. So we cannot take away all of that and then become a scientist. It's a mix of all of this. And I don't find that science and spirituality are too inseparable. No, sorry, it cannot be connected at all. And I find it is possible to connect both of them very, very smoothly, harmoniously.
You said you like music. What kind of music do you enjoy?
I little bit learned Carnatic classical, so I can understand, enjoy that, and I also learned a little bit of keyboards, playing mostly Carnatic.
Okay, amazing. Dr. Somnath, with this mission, in terms of scientific research, what do we expect to learn? And are we going to be part of the Artemis, the United States wanting to send a manned mission to the moon in 2025? There is an agreement that's been signed. Can you explain to our viewers how do we cooperate with the rest of the world and collaborate and make new strides in taking life on the moon and that dream forward?
See, the Artemis Accords is a non-binding agreement between many nations. It's a bilateral agreement as well between the United States of America and the nation which is signing it. And it is not a multinational agreement. And this speaks about how we collaborate with respect to the moon and other planetary systems, etc., and peaceful and cooperative exploitation of all of them, and the guidelines towards that. And it has no other element of later human space flight or commercial part, nothing of that sort. So being a part of the Artemis Accord enables you to become part of Artemis program, which is entirely different. The Artemis program envisages mission to moon, human spaceflight mission, which is done by United States of America. They are planning to build a space station around moon and continuously transport human beings there and create settlement, etc. And any nation can be part of it through a commercial agreement in which there will be some gives, takeaways and benefits for each of them. And India is still not a part of the Artemis program, but we have a signatory to Artemis Accord in the recent times. This was enabled because we are also going to moon, and we are getting ready for that. And we must also have a share of what is there in the moon at a later point in time. And we also want to have technological collaboration with the USA, its own institutions, its companies, who are making few of the greatest of instruments, technologies, etc. It should be made accessible to us in India for building as much good instruments for future. And we also want to look at how we can standardize our human space program like the Mangalyaan and send some cargoes or human beings in the future missions for Artemis programs or any other human space flight program in the future. So all of this opens out new possibilities for us to expand space activities in India, create more businesses, and create more companies to collaborate, work with USA. So all these are possibilities, and which we have to find out in the due course of time. We just signed the Artemis Accord, and we will explore it further with possible collaboration with the United States of America, NASA, etc., in human spaceflight program, and find what is mutually beneficial for both of us.
Dr. Somnath, I wanted to ask you, going forward, what is the progress that has been made on the Gaganyaan mission, the Mangalyaan mission, and the Adityayaan or the solar mission?
Now, coming to the Aditya mission, which is now scheduled to happen next month, the spacecraft is going to be placed in a location called L1, Lagrangian 1. It's a point between Earth and Sun, where we want to move the spacecraft. The spacecraft is fully integrated. It has already gone to our launch station and going to be integrated with the rocket. And we are trying to schedule the launch by the first week of September. And it will take another 120 days plus to reach that L1 after the launch. And after reaching there, we will be making the observations of the sun for next 5 years or so to study the sun in deeper ways. Now, coming to the Gaganyaan is basically a mission to send human beings, especially Indians, to space and bring them back safely. And for that, we have been working for the last 5 years or so. And we have achieved certain milestones in the last many years. One of them being the rocket, which is supposed to send human beings. The GSLV Mark III, called LVM3, is now fully human rated. And we have accomplished some missions with the human rated elements. Then the crew module, the crew escape system, and various elements have been completely designed. And we are in the production of them. The first mission with the crew module, crew escape system, will be launched in one of the test flight coming September, or maybe in the early October, to prove the crew module and the crew escape system functioning in a in a flight condition which is almost close to the speed of sound. Then this process will continue for some time until we do the first unmanned mission at the beginning of next year. And we have to follow up that with further missions, unmanned missions. Then we'll have the final manned mission. So Gaganyaan is on the track. Of course, it has made a lot of delays in the last many years because of the complexities of the technology and also the acquisition of the technology we wanted to achieve from other nations. And you are aware of the geopolitical situations, the COVID, the chip crunch, everything put us in a very tight spot to achieve those targets. I think that is well understood. But we are also increasing the number of tests and evaluations so that the very first flight, we minimize the risk.
Dr. Somnath, Atmanirbhar Bharat has got a major push through the Chandrayaan-3 launch. And the budget for this project was $74 million. Some Hollywood films like Interstellar and others have been made at double this budget. How much of this Atmanirbhar effort can be replicated in the future missions as well?
Say, being frugal engineering or doing it at very low cost has many elements. One, of course, is Atmanirbharta, that is build everything in India and then do it. But this is not it's a condition that we have to apply for very specific goals. One, everything cannot be built in India, and that is not necessary. First and foremost is that we must do all the high-tech items in India. And we should not be dependent on somebody to dictate terms with us in terms of accomplishing missions like this. So that we have to accomplish. For example, the rocket which we are building, almost 95% of the rocket is actually sourced from Indian companies and Indian industries, which itself is a great thing. For spacecraft, it is still 50%. And almost 50% of the cost of the satellite is still imported, especially those electronic chips, which are very high-end space-qualified chips, which are not manufactured in India. And the move by the government to increase the silicon-based industry, chip manufacturing in India, is a welcome move. And slowly, I think we will pick up that momentum and create a lot of products in India which will support the space sector. And that we are looking for this value of the percentage of Indian components in space to reach almost 80%. But there is yet another area called the service sector on ground equipments, etc. These are still imported in a large manner in the last many years. But there is a big winds of change is happening in this sector. Many of the equipments, which are ground equipments for space-based communication, remote sensing, are now made in India, and it is slowly increasing in terms of its revenue, etc., which is also a welcome thing to happen. So, Atmanirbharta is happening in India. In the high-end, high-technology area, it has very well established in rocketry, but in spacecrafts and sensors and various other elements for these missions, we still have to walk a long way, and we are on the right track right now.
Dr. Somnath, every human being needs a support system. Where did you get your inspiration from, and what was your support system in this very, very tense period in the countdown to the Chandrayaan launch?
See, I am the chair of the organization, so I need to find out from my own team members. I think it will not come from anywhere else. Whenever I have a doubt, I go to them, I discuss with them, find out the solutions. And if they need me, I am at their disposal. So it's a team effort, and we have been trained to do that in a manner. And in ISRO, we have a very open review processes, and nothing is left to chance. Everybody is given opportunity to ask questions, clarify, debate, argue, and finally reach an agreement on which that we will proceed. I think there is a very healthy culture. It is non-hierarchical. So there is no issue with us for me to seek help from any youngsters in the system as well. So I am inspired by my own teammates. I don't have to seek it from anywhere else.
And your family, have they even managed to see you in the last few months?
Of course, they see me occasionally. My wife stays with me. My children are all away studying. So they occasionally come and meet me. Otherwise, they won't be able to see me very regularly.
And today, what would your message to 1.4 billion Indians be, and what would your message to your family be?
I would like to tell you that you must believe in yourself, in the power of this nation. Going to moon and soft landing is not a small thing at all. It takes enormous amount of technological capability to accomplish it in many ways, in terms of the flight dynamics, how to reach there, in engineering and designing the rocket that puts us in this orbit. The LVM-3 has been doing it very well, and having launch capability to put 4 tons of class of satellite in orbit is also a great accomplishment. Building this spacecraft and achieving soft landing involves so many complex technologies, from in sensors, propulsion, guidance and control, navigation, the very finer elements of it, and the ground equipments and ground stations and our methods to communicate, etc. So all these have been perfected over so many years, and it is all done by us without depending on anybody. It gives us such a confidence that we are able to chart a new chapter in this, and it all on you people, the youngsters who are willing to join this travel of technology and science in India. And we are very happy in ISRO being an inspirational organization to showcase that it is possible for us to accomplish complex technological challenges within the country using our own resources.
Well, very well said. Maybe ISRO can add another I and say India's inspiration space research organization. But thank you very much for joining me on Frankly Speaking, and a billion congratulations to you, your team, and everybody who worked to make India just so proud, and to make this successful mission make India really feel as if the Tiranga has landed on the moon. Such a proud moment for a nation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.